Welcome to the Workforce Optimization Cycle, Assess Your Business, which is part of an economic recovery series developed by Deeds Workforce Strategy Consultants. We are the Workforce Strategy Consultant team. We work closely with and connect key stakeholders by leveraging expertise in the development of workforce strategies within each of our regions. Our team works together to share successes and implement them throughout Minnesota. Deeds Workforce Strategy Consultants are experts in activating resources to build and improve the talent pipelines of various industries and has strong relationships with regional training partners to assist your business with its workforce needs. In our first article in the Planning for Economic Recovery series, we gave an overview of the Workforce Optimization Cycle, or WOC. WOC is an operational guide that each business can follow to identify their unique challenges and best strategies for reopening. We will now dive into the first stage in the WOC, which is to assess your business. To assess your business is to evaluate the current state of your workforce before progressing through the rest of the stages in the WOC. There are a variety of ways to review your current status, and we will discuss some of those strategies in this section, including employee surveys, health and safety consideration, workspace capacity, and financial stability. One of the first things you need to determine in the Assess Your Business stage is whether your employees can work remotely, and if not, whether they can return to work with social distancing, or if some combination of the two is required. For example, to promote social distancing, you might have half of your staff come to work while the other staff work remotely, and then switch the work schedules weekly with thorough office cleaning in between shifts. Another consideration for this stage of the WOC is to consider what resources and accommodations employees need to be successful in this new work environment. There may be a need to review schedules and provide flexibility in order to accommodate situations like childcare. Accessibility is an issue that also needs to be considered. If you are changing work schedules or asking individuals to work from home, it would be good to review reasonable accommodations they might require, such as screen readers or ergonomic chairs, or expenses they may incur, such as internet or personal cell phone use. Workers will also have a lot of questions and concerns about their health and safety at work post-COVID. Businesses will want to take this opportunity to ask employees for feedback and use their concerns to form their new policies. One recommendation from the Workforce Strategy Consultant team is to do data gathering by surveying your employees as part of the Return to Work plan. This would allow you to better understand how your employees have been impacted by working from home, layoff, slowdown, or furlough your company experienced. A survey would give you insight on how to restart your organization in the least disruptive way to your employees. It also signals to your employees that you value their opinion about the reopening procedures. It can be a good retention tool to help convince your employees not to seek other employment as well. The survey could also be used to create an internal factors evaluation, external factors evaluation matrix, SWOT analysis, or another preferred strategy tool. Our team strongly suggests starting with an internal factors evaluation, or IFE, and external factors evaluation matrix, EFE. IFE is a strategy tool used to evaluate a firm's internal environment and to reveal its strengths as well as its weaknesses. EFE matrix is a strategy tool used to examine a company's external environment and to identify the available opportunities and threats. Both tools identify key factors affecting their business, assign a weight of importance, and subjectively rate the matrix. The summarized information is then evaluated and used for further purposes, such as to build a SWOT analysis. Even though the tools are quite simplistic, they do the best job possible in identifying and evaluating the key affecting factors. Internal Factors Evaluation, IFE Matrix. The Internal Factors Evaluation Matrix is a tool that helps summarize and evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of your organization. This tool is similar to others that you might be more familiar with, like a SWOT analysis, but this tool provides weighted scores to show the impact and importance of each issue. Data gathering. It's important to gather information from as many managers and employees as possible, so the best bet is probably to integrate this into your survey. The key data you are looking for is 10 to 20 key internal factors. One item often overlooked is workforce issues, so it might be wise to look specifically for key internal factors like turnover, morale, time to hire, etc. If you have a key internal factor that is a strength and a weakness, list it twice. Assign a weight to each factor. This weight range goes from 0.0, not important at all, to 1.0, all important, no other factor matters. Factors that have the greatest effect on your organization are given higher numbers, regardless of being a strength or a weakness. The sum of all weights equals 0. It might be best to conduct this portion with a small group or a focus group of staff. Assign a rating to each key internal factor on a scale of 1 to 4. 1 is a major weakness, 2 is a minor weakness, 3 is a minor strength, and 4 is a major strength. This is another area where the more opinions solicited from your staff, the better. Multiply each key internal factor's weight by its rating to get a weighted score. For example, weight is 0.05, rating is 3, when the weighted score is 0.15. Sum the weighted scores for each key internal factor for a total score for the organization. The total weighted score can range between 1 and 4. A score below 2.5 means the organization is weak internally and there are issues that need to be addressed by the company's strategic planning. Above 2.5 means the company is in a relatively strong position, though weaknesses have been identified. In large firms, with possibly silos or strong divisions, each part of the organization should conduct their own IFE matrix and compare and contrast the results. What exactly is the best way to approach a survey of your employees? For help with this, we reached out to Monica Haynes, Director for the University of Minnesota Duluth's Bureau of Business and Economic Research. Surveys, when done well, she says, provide valuable information to businesses about their employees' experiences. However, if a survey is thrown together quickly and without much thought, the results often fail to answer the intended questions. Here are Monica's top 10 tips for conducting a survey. Number 1, assess the need. Do you really need a survey? Are there other ways that you could gather the information? Interviews and focus groups can be time-consuming, but provide more nuanced feedback. Number 2, determine your goal. Before you begin, determine what you hope to accomplish with the survey and stick to that goal. Avoid adding questions just for curiosity. Keep in mind, how are you going to use the information once you get it? Number 3, keep it simple. Keep your language simple and straightforward. Keep in mind your respondents' reading and comprehension level and attention span. Number 4, avoid open-ended questions. Multiple choice questions are easiest for respondents. Text entry questions often get skipped. Number 5, organize your questions. Start with questions that are most critical to your survey. Leave demographic or softball questions to the end, when survey fatigue has begun to set in and your sample size might be smaller. Number 6, beware of common errors. Keep in mind how the wording of your question might skew the responses. Avoid absolutes like, do you always wear a mask when going out in public? Double-barreled questions such as, how concerned are you about the availability of masks and sanitizer in the office? And leading questions such as, what has been the most effective action the company has taken in its response to the coronavirus? Number 7, time it. Once you've completed the survey, see how long it takes to complete. Surveys that take longer than 10 minutes have a high drop-off rate, so you may lose participants. Number 8, test the survey and review the results. Test the survey on at least 5 to 10 individuals before mass distribution to determine if the questions were confusing or missing critical information. And be sure to complete the survey multiple times yourself. Role play with a different type of respondent in each mind each time. You might be surprised at the number of mistakes that you find when you actually complete the survey rather than just read it. Once you have a few responses, download the results to see what they tell you. Adjust the questions as necessary based on the feedback and the results. Number 9, consider an incentive for completion. If response rates are important, consider an incentive to encourage participation, either a small prize for all who complete or a large prize for one random winner can help boost participation. Number 10, be strategic about your distribution timing. You will likely get one large response after your first distribution and a slightly smaller response after each reminder, so carefully consider the timing of your communication. As part of your reopening strategy, you will need to develop a COVID-19 preparedness plan. A survey is a great opportunity to receive input from your managers and employees as you are developing the plan, as well as make sure that their concerns are addressed in the plan. Requesting input may reduce hesitation to return to work. If you have not yet begun working on your COVID-19 preparedness plan, there are resources to help. You can find guidelines from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, and the Minnesota Department of Health, as well as a COVID-19 preparedness plan template on the DEED Safely Returning to Work page. One additional item to consider as you move forward towards reopening or ramping up your business is your employees returning from unemployment insurance. People are not eligible to continue to receive unemployment benefits if they are offered their position back, except for workers who are not able to return to work because a health provider has told them that they should not, or if they have lost childcare and have no reasonable accommodations. You can see the details in Executive Order 20-05. It's also important that employees understand all available FFCRA and FMLA options, as well as ADA EO protections. As part of your assessing your business, you need to understand the workforce capacity that you have at this time. You will need to develop your COVID-19 preparedness plan to determine how many employees that you can have on location safely. Based on your business model and industry, slight changes or possibly extensive changes to your current policies and workflows may be required to adhere to CDC guidelines. One element that might be harder to determine is your remote work capacity, and the survey may assist with that information. Two elements that need to be reviewed in the survey are technical limitations and broadband availability. Technical limitations refer to the fact that not all jobs and not all parts of jobs can be done remotely, or it could be that the company itself cannot afford the remote technology to work effectively with their current resources. It could also be a technology divide or a lack of training in the technology before COVID-19 hit. Broadband is another issue, especially in rural areas or for those in lower economic conditions. Not everyone has access to high-speed internet, which is more limited and patchy in rural areas like Northeast and Northwest Minnesota. Also, not everyone can afford it without assistance. As individuals have moved to working remotely for work continuation, many employers may not be offering to assist in paying for broadband internet. If remote access moves from being a temporary measure for business continuation to a norm in daily work, employers may need to revisit paying for home broadband access for employees. Recovery will not mean restoration. This was a key point from a recent Strong Towns webinar, the Local Leaders Toolkit, a Strong Towns response to the pandemic, and worth repeating here. Many of the projections that we have seen on GDP indicate that no matter what type of recovery we see post-pandemic, we will not recover back to where we were pre-COVID in the near term. In this assess your business stage, it's important to take time to understand the financial impact the pandemic has had and will continue to have on your organization. Part of the assess your business stage is reviewing your assets. Whether you have been shut down for a while or didn't close your business at all, this is a good time to take stock of the resources that you have available. This should mean conducting an in-depth audit of your physical, human, and financial assets before ramping back up again. We also recommend, if possible, a deep internal audit of your business financials. If you have not reviewed your statements, ratios, and overall strategy, this is a great time to do so. Resources for small businesses, including the local U.S. Small Business Administration, SBA, representatives who can help with everything from your business planning to understanding and completing financial reporting. You can find more information on the SBA website. Every business will be different, but all have been impacted in one way or another by COVID-19. Before moving forward with projecting labor demand, it's important to understand your current resources and liabilities. For your convenience, we have pulled some resources for you to reference when you assess your business. Assess your business is the first of 6 steps of the WOC. Continue to follow Deed's Workforce Strategy team as we take a deep dive into each phase, talk with subject matter experts from organizations throughout the state, and share resources that will help along the way. Join the Deed's Workforce Strategy team next week as we discuss the second phase of projecting labor demand. Thank you for joining our review into the first phase of the workforce optimization cycle. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us or any member of the Workforce Strategy Consultant team.